Good morning, ma'am. I am Angel Pindon, BSc 3, Charlie. Article 3, Section 12, Paragraph 1 of Bill of Rights 1987 Philippine Constitution state that any person under the investigation for the commission of an offense shall be informed of his right, the right to remain silent, and to have a competent, independent counsel preferable of his own choice. If he cannot afford the service of counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and by the presence of his counsel. This is also known as the Miranda Doctrine, established in the U.S. Supreme Court case Miranda versus Arizona. It is a legal principle that requires law enforcement to inform the individual of his constitutional rights, commonly known as Miranda rights, before taking into custody and before any custodial interrogation. Section 12, Paragraph 1 of the Bill of Rights in the 1987 Philippine Constitution embodies several important rights for individuals who are under investigation for the commission of an offense. The rights include, they are also protected under Republic Act number 7438, an act defining certain rights of individual detained or under custodial, as well as the duties of public officer, detaining, investigating officer, and providing penalties for violations thereof. The right to remain silent under Republic Act, under Article 3, Section 12, Paragraph 1 of Bill of Rights 1987 Philippine Constitution state that any person have the right to remain silent. This means that the person being investigated have the option to not answer questions that can incriminate themselves. Self-incrimination refers to an act of providing information that could be used against oneself in any legal proceeding. The right to legal counsel. Under Republic Act 7438, the individual have the opportunity to have a qualified lawyer who can provide legal advice and representation. It's preferable of his own choice. If he cannot afford the service of counsel, he must be provided with one. This provision recognizes that not everyone can afford legal representation. Therefore, if the person being investigated cannot afford a lawyer, the authorities are obligated to provide one for them. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and by the presence of his counsel. The right to be informed. Individual must be informed of his right to remain silent and the right to legal counsel in a language that is known to them. They should be made aware of these rights by the authorities conducting the investigation. Under Republic Act number 7438, any arresting public officer, investigating officer who fails to inform the individual of his constitutional rights may suffer of fines of 6,000 pesos and not less than 8 years but not more than 10 years of imprisonment, or both. The penalty of perpetual absolute disqualification shall also be imposed upon the investigation officer who has been previously convicted of a similar offense. Waiver requirements: that if the individual chooses to give up his right to remain silent and the right to legal counsel, they must do so in a written statement with the presence of their attorney. Any waiver by the person arrested or detained or under the provision of Article 125 of Revised Penal Code or under custodial investigation shall be written and signed by such person in the presence of his legal counsel. Otherwise, the waiver shall be null and void and of no effect.